Hello, viewers. I am Angela, and here's my son, Adam,
Cherries,
who likes to sometimes call himself Chester V. And if you're a lover of the movie Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, that's where so too. Anyway, that's where he got that character from. Anyway, he is some character. Anyway, we are back with another story for you. And this story is about being honest. In Romans 13:13 says, "Let us walk honestly." And I'm going to also read it from the Good News Bible, because that's what I'm using for him. The Good News Translation Bible, which says, "Let us conduct ourselves properly as people who live in the light of day. No orgies or drunkenness, no immorality or indecency, no fighting or jealousy." And I'm going to also add verse 14, which says, "But take up the weapons of the Lord Jesus Christ and stop paying attention to your sinful nature and satisfy its desires." So our story today is about being honest. And I'm going to see, Adam, I'm going to see if we are going to see if we can take turns in reading this story. Ready? Ready? The trouble with you, said Jack, is that the trouble with you, said Jack, is that you're too honest for your own good, Kenny. You had just as many baskets of cherries as I had last year. If you had filled them the way I filled mine, you would have made as much money as I did. Kenny watched as Jack filled his baskets. Little cherries on the bottom, big ones on the top. "Yes, I guess I should have done it your way," he said, "but it didn't seem quite honest. No one wanted to buy my baskets of little cherries even at a lower price. I ended up giving them to Aunt May. She made jelly with them." "See, that's what I'm saying," said Jack. "You are too honest for your own good. Look at all the money you lost. You didn't even sell your little ones. You can sell them all if people think the whole basket is filled with big cherries. You don't have to say they are all big. Just don't say anything. They will go away happy. You never see them again anyway." As he walked back to his uncle's farm, Kenny thought about what Jack had said. When he reached his cherry tree, he stood there looking at it for a while. He remembered how happy he had been when his uncle had given him this one tree for his own and said he could have his own roadside stand. But he remembered the rest too. After all the trouble he had taken to sort out his cherries, nobody bought the little ones when the baskets of big ones were gone. "I suppose Jack is right," he said to himself. "It would be better to put the little cherries on the bottom, as long as I don't say they are all big. That way, I won't have any cherries left over and will get a good price for every basket. It takes me just as long to pick little cherries as big ones." The next day, Kenny started to pick his cherries. He worked alone, so it took 2 days to do all the picking.
Yes.
Okay. I'll continue until you're ready. Okay? Then it took several hours to put them into the baskets. He did it just as Jack said. Little ones on the bottom, big ones on the top. But he wasn't whistling as he usually did, because somehow he didn't feel so good about what he was doing. When Kenny had finished filling the last basket, it was time for dinner. Well, said Aunt May as Kenny came into the house, I hope you'll sell all your cherries this year. So do I, said Kenny. Jack opened his stand yesterday. He said he's selling to lots of strangers this year. I'm not surprised, said Aunt May. I'm sure the people who bought from him last year wouldn't come back for more this year. Kenny looked at Aunt May in surprise. What do you mean, Aunt May? He asked. You told me yourself how he fills his basket, said Aunt May. He makes people think they are getting big cherries when the baskets are half full of little ones. Who would come back for more of that kind of cherries? But Jack says a lot of people do that, said Kenny. If a lot of people do something wrong, does it start being right? Asked Aunt May. Kenny wasn't listening to her anymore, for something behind her had caught his eye. There in the cupboard were the jars of cherry jelly that Aunt May had made from his leftover cherries last year. That's the reward I got for being so honest, he said to himself. Jack was right. I was too honest for my own good. I'll come out better this year since I sorted my cherries the way he did. The next morning, Kenny had just put out all his baskets of cherries when the first car stopped in front of his stand. The lady in the car waved to Kenny to come to her window. Hello, she said. How are the cherries this year? Fine, said Kenny. Would you like a basket or two this morning? I hope they are as good as they were last year, said the lady. When I got home, I wish I had bought more. Kenny could feel his face getting red as the lady talked on. I came back for more the next day, she said, but your stand was closed. So I bought 2 baskets from that other boy down the road. My, what a difference. Never again. Kenny did not know what to say, so he didn't say anything. But the lady went right on talking. Well, I'm in a hurry this morning. I don't have to get out to look at your cherries. I know they will be good. Bring me 2 baskets, please. Kenny hurried back to the stand. He poured all the cherries out of 2 of the baskets, hoping that the lady couldn't see what he was doing. Then he quickly filled them with big cherries off the tops of other baskets. The lady looked very pleased when he handed her the baskets through the window. My, what beautiful cherries, she said as she paid him. As soon as she had gone, Kenny poured the cherries out of all the baskets. He started sorting them over again. Big cherries in these baskets, little ones in those. He would have to make new price signs, but that wouldn't take long. Suddenly he started whistling. Can you whistle? A little while later, Kenny was still busy sorting the cherries when he heard footsteps. Aunt May, can you make the sound of footsteps? Aunt May Aunt May was coming with a big box in her arms. Why, Kenny, she said, I thought you had finished filling your baskets yesterday. I thought so too, said Kenny, but I just realized that I hadn't done a very good job. So I'm doing it over. I see, said Aunt May. Well, here, Kenny, I brought you a surprise. These are the jars of jelly that I made out of your leftover cherries last year. They are yours to sell. The money you get from them will be more than what you would have gotten for the little cherries, even if you had sold them. Kenny stared in surprise at the jars of jelly his aunt was setting out on the stand. "Oh, Aunt May," he cried at last. Thank you. You are wonderful." Aunt May smiled. "I think you are pretty special too, Kenny," she said, "and I hope you'll always remember something. It is never too late to start doing what you should have done all along." Kenny watched Aunt May walk back to the house. "I wonder," he said to himself, "I wonder if she knew." This story is by Marianne Mitchelson Gartler. And here are the images that I can share based upon the reading. I hope you enjoyed the story. See you next time. Say bye.